Shizzle. All right, we back up in here. We're back up in here with another edition of the motherfucking fresh and funky Playz Parlayz Sports Show. We're here on the 9 September 9th, 20th. Yes, the 20th of September, 2022, and we're here to give you, the aftermath of what was Monday night. I call it the Monday night blowouts. Shouts out to the Buffalo Bills and shouts out to the Philadelphia Eagles for taking care of business first and foremost. And mad, mad thumbs down to the Minnesota Vikings and the Tennessee Titans, which the Minnesota Vikings happen to be my fucking team, my favorite team, the team I root for, and my brother's team, the Tennessee Titans. They both took a dog shit L, and rightfully so. I mean, both teams in the first half played a much better game than the second half. The second half, it was like they were already just, they didn't even want to be there. They might as well should have just fucking got on the fucking plane and got the fuck out and just quit. Should quit like the motherfuckers that play Madden when they just tired. They just fucking they unplug the fucking cord from the PlayStation and the motherfucking Xbox. It's just. But it was what it was. Hey, Jalen Hurts. He looked really well. Played very well. Uh, Darius Slade. Played like the old Darius Slade. When he was healthy with the Detroit Lions. So, and speaking of those Detroit Lions, they're gonna have to face the Minnesota Vikings this weekend. So, Minnesota, I don't think you're gonna be off the hook yet, and you're going to be playing another divisional opponent here. And I mean, obviously, we'd stomp the dog snot out of Green Bay, but we also got the dog snot stomped out of us last night. So, but that being said, the Bills look really good. I mean, Buffalo Bills. What can we say? They look like they're probably the best team right now in the NFL, in my opinion. I mean, opinions may vary. Some other people might think there's a better team. I just think the Buffalo Bills on offense, defense, special teams, coaching, all the way top to bottom down. Hands down, that organization looks like they're ready to play for a Super Bowl and they're ready to hoist a Super Bowl, if I may say the least here. Already going out on a limb here. I know a lot of people before the seasons we're looking at the Buffalo Bills, and they are definitely one of the favorites, and they are looking like the favorite. They're definitely playing really good football right now, and they don't even really have Tre'Davious White yet either, really healthy. So, man, once they get him healthy, man, they're going to be more dangerous as far as the passing game is considered. So, and we didn't even see Gabe Davis last night here. Gabe Davis was absent with an injury, but still, they really didn't need Gabe Davis because they had Stephon Diggs and they had Josh Allen just, doing the Josh Allen things out there. And the Tennessee Titans just, I don't know, man. They look poor again. And is there some concerns for Tennessee? Is it time to fire Mike Vrabel? I don't know. Is it time to finally move on from Ryan Tannehill? We'll have to see. I mean, I don't think Tannehill's that terrible of a quarterback, but if he continues to play the way he is, I mean, they're gonna have no choice but to try to put the rookie in there and try to see what he has. You know if the season's lost, and because they're supposed to be a contender for the AFC South there, them and Indianapolis Colts, but those two teams looking mighty bleak right now here. The Tennessee Titans and the Indianapolis Colts here. Well, the Colts are actually 0-1-1, and it doesn't get any easier when they play the fucking Chiefs this weekend. So, unless you think this is upset city, which we'll get into later on in the week about we'll talk about some of the matchups this week. We'll run down the games. Obviously, there's a lot of MLB here. We got the last 2 weeks of MLB baseball before there's playoff. So we got a doubleheader already underway right now between the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers. And yeah, we got full action here, full slate of action here for Major League Baseball today. it's all by itself. So the spotlight is on Major League Baseball right now. But, and we also want to give a report that the Buffalo Bills, uh, Dane Jackson, I believe his name was, that was hurt last night. He did have movement in his extremities, but I mean it looked nasty. Okay, the way his friendly fire was, where his neck just ah 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 you don't want to see that. You don't ever want to see that when it's in a sport like any type of sport, any type of person, any where it's just like it's just a nasty looks worse than it is, and and luckily it wasn't as it wasn't as worse, so but still looked like one hell of a nasty car wreck, that's for sure. But needless to say, our parlay, let's go over the parlay last night that we had, that we uh that we put together. We obviously had the Titans on the alternate spread plus 14 and a half. That didn't cover. We had the over 47 and a half between the Tennessee Titans and the Buffalo Bills. That covered. We had the Minnesota Vikings on the money line plus 123. That did not cover. But we did cover the under here, the under 49 and a half. And we had the Astros money line. The Astros took care of business. We had the New York Mr. and Mrs. Mets. They took care of business. I had the under 11 and a half runs between the Giants and the Rockies. It went 17 runs, so we lost there. Giants won in extras. I took the over 7.5 runs in the Diamondbacks and Dodgers. It went 7 runs exactly last night, so I lost there. So we went 4-4 on our bets here. So we broke 500, but did not win the parlay. But as far as the bets in the parlay goes, we four of them were on the winning side, and four of them we were not. So today we're gonna try our best here. It's gonna make a MLB parlay play here. We're gonna do it with my sister, who she's the one that catches a lot of the parlays. So she's gonna we're gonna sit down and we're gonna try to make a parlay, and hopefully we can come up with something good here tonight to maybe possibly give us a winning parlay bet tonight. So without further ado, let's get into the games going on right now here. Let's go to baseball right now. All right. So we got live baseball right now. We're in the what is it? The second inning? Yes, we're in the second inning here, where it is a 1-1 ball game here between the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks right now. Zach Davies and Michael Grove pitching for the Dodgers here. So 1-1 in the second inning here. The over under now. It was 9.5. Now it's gone to 8.5 here if you're getting a live betting here. We have the Cubs and the Marlins here. We got Adrian Sampson versus Pablo Lopez. Then we have the Red Sox and the Reds. We have Brian Bello and Nicholas Dolo. And then we have the Astros and the Rays. We have Christian Javier and Shane McClellan. So it's going to be a battle of the aces there. We've got Toronto Blue Jays and the Philadelphia Phillies. We have Mr. Stripling here. And we have Kyle Gibson. We have the Detroit Tigers and the Baltimore Orioles. We have Joseph Wentz, and we have Austin Voth. We have the Pittsburgh Pirates and the New York Yankees. We have Luis Ortiz for the Pittsburgh Pirates and Nestor Cortez. Nestor Cortez. Just like saying that. Just for the record. Washington Nationals are taking on the Atlanta Braves. We got Patrick Corbin taking on Charlie Mortons. We have the New York Mets and the Milwaukee Brewers. We got Carlos Carrasco. And we have Aaron Ashby for the Brewers. We have the Los Angeles, more or less, they should call them the Anaheim Angels. They play right next to Walt Disney. We have Patrick Sandoval taking on the Texas Rangers and Cole Ragans in Texas. Hot night in Texas and Arlington at Global Life Field. Then we have the Minnesota Twins taking on the Kansas City Royals. Dylan Bundy versus Zach Greinke's. Then we have the Cleveland Guardians taking on the Chicago White Sox. Aaron Cavalli Valley versus the Dylan Cease. Then we have the San Francisco Giants and the Colorado Rockies. John Bebby against Kyle Freeland. Then we have the Seattle Mariners taking on the Oakland Athletics. Luis Castillo versus John Patrick Sears at the Oakland Coliseum. And then we have the St. Louis Cardinals taking on the San Diego Padres. Adam Wainwright versus Michael Clevenger. And then we have the second game of the doubleheader between the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Los Angeles Dodgers. We got Dre Jemison taking on Tyler Mr. Anderson. So those are your games right now. Currently, right now, the Dodgers and Diamondbacks are currently playing right now. It is a 1-1 ball game here in the second inning. Live over-under is 8.5 here. Diamondbacks are plus 187 on the money line here. The Dodgers are minus 104 right now here. If they're to win by 1.5. The Diamondbacks are minus 121 if you think they can cover the 1.5. They're plus 190 now. The Diamondbacks are on the money line. The over-under now, 192 now. 192 now is the money line. We have the over-under of 9.5 runs now here. So the in-game betting is kind of a little bit tricky. You know, you got to really boom. I mean, you got to see something and you got to hit it live and you got to hit it quick because the numbers are ever changing. All right, they've locked the money line here. They're locking the money line in right now. You cannot bet on the money line right now as far as the site that I'm looking at right now here. All right, Dodgers to win by a 1.5 now, plus 108 here. The over-under of 8.5 here. They want the under 8.5 runs is plus 103. So, you know, hey, if you think you plus 109 right now, plus 109 here for that 1.5 on the Dodgers here. And I'm a guy that, it's always, and when I put the Dodgers run line on there, I mean it cashes. It's the most safest kind of, a lot of people don't like betting baseball because they don't think it's safe. Well, I mean, it's the most guaranteed safest pick that you could take. Now, the Dodgers are generally 9 times out of 10, they're going to win by more than a run. Unless it's just a team that just, or they got some injuries and it's just, hey. But even then, sometimes it's, So if I was in-game live betting right now and I had to take something here, I would definitely take the Dodgers here to win by more than a 1.5 here, plus 109. I mean, that's pretty good money right there. Taking the under 8.5 runs here, I mean, hey, that's pretty safe because it went 7 yesterday, but both teams have already got a run here, and this is already the second inning, so it's 2. So who knows? There could be some more runs to be had here. And so, but let's look at this. Let's look at let's run down. Now we're gonna run down. We'll go into college football before we go into the NFL here. All right, we got a West Virginia, the Mountaineers taking on the Virginia Tech Hokies. Okay, it's a very interesting matchup here to say the least. Here, Virginia Tech's kind of struggled a bit West Virginia's kind of started, not like West Virginia football is to be considered, but the number right now is 2 here. The Mountaineers are actually favored to win on the road favorites here to win by 2 here. Interesting line right there to say the least that sticks out to me here. They play in 2 days here, so they're gonna be playing here on yeah, they'll be playing Thursday. Yeah, they'll be playing Thursday here. Yep. So we got Thursday night football here. We got 2 games here, college football plus we have the NFL game here. So 52.5 is the over/under for the Mountaineers in the Virginia Tech Hokies game. So it's an interesting number here. We'll get a breakdown on it here tomorrow here. We'll try to get a breakdown here. Try to break down the numbers here. Try to tell you some of the guys, some of the players right now that are, the trendsetters. And maybe try to pick somebody that hasn't shined, but maybe will have the chance to shine and maybe give their team the chance to win on Thursday night. And the next game, we got Coastal Carolina, the Chanticleers, taking on the Georgia State Panthers here. So the Chanticleers here are the road favorites to win by 2.5, to win by a field goal here. That's not a bad number right there. If you're a Chanticleer fan here. And, Georgia State here, I mean, I'm sure they're probably going to play well at home to get that number here. I mean, over under 62 points. I mean, surely there's going to be some points put up in this game probably. I mean, more more than less than not. I mean, not saying that these defenses are terrible. It's just sometimes, some offenses are a little bit more efficient than the defenses are. And but we'll see. We'll see. And then we have Friday night football here. We have the Virginia Cavaliers taking on the Syracuse Orange. The Orange are actually favored to win by 11 here. Syracuse got a big victory last week, so over Purdue. So, hey, can the Orange pull it off again? I think so. I mean, do they win by 11 against Virginia? I mean, I don't know. I'm not, but I think Syracuse, they definitely have a really good team this year. And generally Virginia plays well, and they generally have a decent program here. Not saying it's going to blow you out of the water, but generally they're competitive. They're not just bottom of the barrel shit team either. So. But plus 300 tells me, they're not a really good football team at this point right now. So, and going on the road here to face Syracuse, I don't know. We'll see what happens. 53.5 is the number we have right now. It could change. It could go up. It could go down. It will remain to see until Friday, till game time Friday. Then we have Nevada Wolfpack taking on the Air Force. Obviously, the Air Force lost against Wyoming, but they're favored to win by 24 points here against Nevada here. Nevada is a plus 1,500 money line, plus 1,500 on the money line here. The over/under is 45.5. I mean, I don't know, man. Air Force might be ready to boat race Nevada, but I don't know. Nevada has been somewhat competitive this year. I mean, we'll have to see if the pack from Reno can go into to the Air Force and maybe play close, have a chance to win, or maybe just not get blown out by 24. And last game, but not least, we have Boise State going into UTEP and El Paso to face the Miners. Now, Boise State has been starting to play well as of late, so shouldn't be a surprise. But they didn't cover last week on the spread. They were supposed to win by 25, and they just didn't. They did not, for whatever reason, they just not cover, and they were playing. I believe it was University of Tennessee Martin. So I mean, so do they cover the 15 against the UTEP Miners? I mean, I don't know. They're on the road. And it's a tough game. Tough game to judge. I mean, over under 45. I mean, all right. And then we have Saturday's games here. We got the big one. We have the big one, and the big one to start it off here. We have the Clemson Tigers taking on the Wake Forest Demon Deacons here. So it's going to be a battle here. Both these teams are ranked here. Both teams got a undefeated record here. Clemson is favored by 7.5 right now here. 56 is the over/under. I would beg to say that this game between the Clemson Tigers and Wake Forest, it's gonna probably somehow. I mean, it'll get close to 50 points here. I mean, I could see both teams here. Both teams, especially playing. Then we have TCU, the Horned Frogs, taking on SMU, the Mustangs. So TCU is actually the favorite by 2 points here on the spread as road favorites here. And obviously the over-under is 71 points, so they think there's going to be some points here. They think the defense is going to be minimal, and that the offense is going to be it's going to be a shootout, back and forth type action. We have Maryland and we have Michigan. Michigan has been on a roll here. Maryland plays well, and they have Tua Tagovailoa's brother, where I believe Tua was at the game last week in Maryland when they were playing SMU here, and that's why I believe he wanted to play well against Lamar Jackson and them. So, but Michigan is on another level, a different team this year, obviously. Minus 17 against the Terrapins, though. I mean, we'll see here. We'll see what Maryland. I mean, I'm not too much sold on Maryland at this point. Over under 65.5. So, a lot of points. Then we got Baylor versus Iowa State. We have Missouri taking on Auburn. We got Kent State, Georgia. Central Michigan, Penn State. South Florida, Louisville. Buffalo, Eastern Michigan. Duke and Kansas. Both of those teams are undefeated, so that's going to be an interesting matchup here. Bowling Green pulled an upset against Marshall. Can they pull an upset against Mississippi State? We got UMass and we have Temple. We have UCLA taking on Colorado. We have Notre Dame going down to Chapel Hill and take on North Carolina. We have Minnesota going into East Lansing to take on Sparty after Sparty got beat down pretty. And now Sparty again is underdog at home this time here. So I don't know. We'll have to keep an eye on that number there. We have the Florida Gators taking on the Tennessee Volunteers. That should be a great game here after the Gators barely. Tennessee just, playing really good football right now. And Tennessee is favored here. And rightfully so. I mean, Florida, I think, are they a decent team? Yeah, but I mean, Tennessee, I think, has it a little bit better. So we're going to see here. We're going to see what happens. Then we got James Madison, the Dukes, taking on Appalachian State here. So the Dukes are actually underdogs here. James Madison Dukes here. And Appalachian State, they had to, they had to hit the Hail Mary to win it here over Troy. So I don't know. I might be a buyer on them James Madison Dukies here. So then we got Florida International. They're taking on Western Kentucky. We got North Texas taking on Memphis. We have the Texas Longhorns and the Texas Tech Red Raiders. That rivalry renews itself. We have the Middle Tennessee taking on the Miami Hurricanes. We have Indiana taking on Cincinnati Bearcats. We have Toledo and we have San Diego State. That should be an interesting contest. Georgia Tech and Central Florida here. That'll be an interesting matchup. Oregon versus Washington State here. Oregon played BYU very well, and then we're gonna see here. Has Oregon really turned the corner here? Can they beat up on this Washington State team here in Pullman? Then we have Tulsa, the Golden Hurricanes are going into Ole Miss to play the Rebels. We have Arizona, the Wildcats, after beating. They're going to play Cal after Cal had a chance to be able to tie or beat Notre Dame here. So we'll see. Then we have the Rice Owls taking on the Houston Cougars. We have Arkansas State taking on Old Dominion here. Old Vinzos there. All right, so do I put my money on Arkansas State because. Then we have Ball State taking on Georgia Southern here. Okay. We have the Navy Midshipmen taking on East Carolina, the Pirates. We had Akron Zips versus Liberty. We have Northern Illinois against Kentucky. We have UNLV, the Running Rebels, or we should just call them the Rebels here, against Utah State, the Aggies here. We have Southern Miss, the Golden Eagles, taking on Tulane, the Green Wave. The Green Wave has been doing pretty well this season here, representing New Orleans. So let's see if they can continue it this weekend. Then we got the Iowa Hawkeyes at Rutgers. Then we have Louisiana Tech taking on South Alabama here. South Alabama had a heartbreak here. So we'll see how they do at home here against Louisiana Tech. We got the Marshall Thundering Herd after they got beat in a heartbreaker just like Troy did. So Troy and Marshall, well, that'll be an interesting game to watch. We got the Wisconsin Badgers versus the Ohio State Buckeyes. That's going to be a big game here. A big night game there in Ohio State and Columbus. We got New Mexico taking on LSU. I mean, LSU should take care of business in that game. We have Florida Atlantic taking on Purdue here. We have Charlotte, the Niners, taking on South Carolina. We have Vanderbilt taking on Alabama. We got Connecticut taking on North Carolina State. We have the Red Hawks of Miami, Ohio, taking on Northwestern. We got Kansas State taking on Oklahoma. We got the Louisiana Lafayette Raging Cajun taking on Monroe, the Warhawks. We got Boston College taking on the Florida State Seminoles. We got Hawaii taking on New Mexico State Aggies. We got the Trojans of USC taking on Oregon State, the Beavers. We have the Wyoming Cowboys taking on BYU. We have Western Michigan taking on San Jose State Spartans. Then we have Stanford Cardinal taking on the Washington Huskies. We have the Utah Utes and Arizona State Sun Devils. And that is it for the college football slate here. All right, let's run down the NFL right quick here, and then we'll go back to Major League Baseball here for a update on the first game here. Thursday Night Football, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Cleveland Browns. Right now, the Browns are favored by 4.5. The over under is 38.5 points. There's some injuries coming in from both sides right now, and just some things we need to see more of from both teams. Honestly, you know, Cleveland ran the ball very well, but just I don't know. Now some ugly injuries on their defense. Especially to Miles Garrett and some other players here. So I mean, it's and then Joe Benton Tony here that hurts them offensively is a strong guard on that offensive line to help that running game. That running game has been pretty efficient for the first 2 weeks. Nick Chubb has really looked like the top back in the NFL, right now. But they're 1-1, and then the Pittsburgh Steelers, they just without T.J. Watt on defense, it's just been. I mean, and you couldn't even really blame the defense truly and really for the debacle against the Patriots. It was definitely the offense. Trubisky was not as efficient as he was against the Bengals. And maybe, Mike Tomlin's going to have to change his tune about putting in Pickett or Mason Rudolph to kind of try to get that, get this offense moving. And Najee's trying to get back to health, and I don't think you should run him to the ground because he does have that foot injury. So I wouldn't want to put all that pressure on him. So needless to say, it will be an interesting game Thursday night. Short week. Both teams are going to be, coming in banged up, hurt up. So then part of the early games, we have the Baltimore Ravens taking on the New England Patriots. That'll be an interesting game. See if Baltimore can bounce back, and can the Patriots actually, get on a winning streak and start competing against the likes of the Bills and the Dolphins. Then we got the Cincinnati Bengals and the Jets. Jets, after their big win, do they follow it up with another win, or can the Cincinnati Bengals get off the 0-2 snide and finally get a victory here on the road? Then we have the Buffalo Bills taking on the Miami Dolphins here down in South Florida. That will be a hot. And I mean, and not just the hot weather and the hot women down there or anything like that. Just you got Josh Allen, you got Tua right now. These teams are red hot. Both teams coming in undefeated, and obviously Miami to get a big foot up in this division here and really take a chink out of the Buffalo Bills armor here would be to get a victory here on Sunday Sunday afternoon. Then we have the Detroit Lions and the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings come home after a disappointing loss, and I mean, by all means, it was just a bad game. But we'll see how we fare against the Lions, who are going to be a formidable opponent here. And they got, hey man, looks like Jared Goff and Armon St. Brown have really found something, and they were just really, they were looking really good, man. They're looking really solid, and mix that in with DeAndre Swift, and hey, the Lions defense isn't playing half bad, so Lions defense clamps down, and that offense gets even more deadlier. Look out. All right, let's see. New Orleans Saints taking on the Carolina Panthers here. Panthers have not won a game, so can they get out the snide by beating New Orleans? That is, kind of struggled. Had one of those ugly games at home, and then just, I mean, it wasn't their best represented football. So hopefully, maybe they get Kamara back, and hopefully maybe they just right the ship, or maybe Baker Mayfield and them get their first victory. We'll see. We got Kansas City coming to Indianapolis here, so I don't know. Maybe this is the trap game that the Colts needed to get, maybe get a victory here. Obviously, DeForest Buckner's not happy. Said we bleep in our fucking embarrassment. It was embarrassing to go out there, and I say that the Colts got to come out there and play with some fucking pride, and they're gonna play tough against Patrick Mahomes here. We have the Philadelphia Eagles, who are undefeated, taking on the Commanders here. So, we'll see if the Commanders can get a victory, a big victory. This would be against the Eagles here, especially in the division. Then we have the Las Vegas Raiders after their disappointing home debacle. They got to go on the road to face the Tennessee Titans, who basically look like look like dog water out there. So we'll see which team wants to get back on track there. We have the Houston Texans and the Chicago Bears. Obviously, this is going to be a battle of teams that are it's a chance for either team to get a win on the season. Not, I wouldn't say an easy win, but a winnable game for either side of the ball here. Where you're looking at the Texans coming into Soldier Field in Chicago. So then we have the Jaguars going up against the Chargers. So we'll see how the Jaguars, they played very well against the Colts here, but how will they travel and how will they play against formidable opponents like the Los Angeles Chargers? And that is the afternoon game here, just like Green Bay travels down to take on Tampa Bay here. Obviously, Rodgers got back on track by beating up on, formidable Bears. Can Rodgers finally beat up on Tom Brady, which Brady and the Bucks did? I mean, their defense looks solid and great, but the offense just does not look. I don't know. Tom just doesn't look like Tom, and I think this is probably going to be his last year. I mean, he probably should have just hung it up. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of things going on in Tom Brady's life. Obviously, football is far from the real person to matter. Football. I think he just trying to play football to get his mind off of the other things that he's dealing with personally. So. But yeah, they're favored by 2.5 right now against Green Bay. So I don't know. I like Green Bay. Green Bay looks like the better team right now here. Ugh, sorry. Ugh, squinched. There you go. We had to adjust. We had to adjust the. We had to make an adjustment over here. Yeah. All right. Feel much better now. All right. We have the Atlanta Falcons taking on the Seattle Seahawks here. Obviously, Seattle did not play their best game against the Niners here. Obviously, a chance for redemption to play against the Falcons, who normally choked, but had a chance to actually beat the Rams. So maybe do they get a victory here against the team. And so we'll definitely see how Seattle responds and how the Falcons respond. As far as Seattle is favored by 2 points here. And we have the Los Angeles Rams taking on the Arizona Cardinals here out in the desert. Kyler Murray out there first. The cardiac Cardinals here, the Desert Birds. They they hung around and vultured a victory away from the Las Vegas Raiders here, and Kyler got smacked. So we'll see how they'll respond against the Rams here, who had to hang on to beat the Falcons here. So we'll see how they fare against Kyler and company. Then we have the 5 o'clock game here. We have the San Francisco, or I like to call them the Santa Clara, because that's where they play. Santa Clara 49ers taking on the Denver Broncos. As everybody knows, Trey Lance got hurt. He's out for the season now. It's Jimmy G season, and obviously, for good measure. Broncos coach, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Niners are favored by 1.5 here, so I mean that line's kind of fishy and suspicious here. And then next Monday night, we have the Dallas Cowboys going into the New York Giants Stadium here. Cowboys getting a much needed victory here. The Giants getting a much needed victory last week at home. It's now hoping to take care of business against the Cowboys to keep up, and hopefully the Commanders can get a victory, so that way the Giants will have sole possession of the division here. But we will see here. We will see. But let's go look. Let's look at what's going on right now here. All right, we're in the third inning here now. It is 2-1. Diamondbacks are up on the Dodgers here in the third here. So now, obviously here, it's now over under is 10.5 here. All right, but that's what we have here for the stream for today here. Me and my sister will make our parlay here, but I mean, that's just for shits and giggles. I'll give you this here. The Cubs and Marlins yesterday, they went over. I think I mean it's a funny thing that some of these teams, like I mean Cubs and Marlins, I don't really like anything there into any of my likings there here. I mean you have the Reds and the Red Sox here. I mean I like Bello. He has first victory last time. I mean, did they win by more than one run? I don't know. I would probably take Red Sox on the money line here. The under 8 here. I don't know how that would go here. And we got Shane. We got big Shane McClellan here. And the Rays to win by more than. I actually like the over 6 here. I mean, I like both pitchers, but I think there can be some runs here. Can definitely be over 6 runs. Blue Jays and the Phillies here. Playing in Philadelphia here. I like the Blue Jays on the run line. I don't know. I don't hate the Blue Jays money line either. Then we have the Tigers and the Orioles here. The Orioles lost yesterday here. I like the Orioles on the run line today, especially after a loss. We have the Pirates and we have the Yankees here. I'm gonna go Pirates plus the run and a half here. This Luis Ortiz. I'm going different and awkward here. Nationals and Braves here. Give me the Braves money line. Mets and Brewers here. I would take the Mets money line again here. Angels and Rangers here. Uh, I don't like it, but I'm kind of leaning towards the Rangers money line. Then we have the Twins and the Royals here. Game I definitely want to stay away from. Um, White Sox and Guardians here. I like Dylan Cease a lot here, and I personally, I personally like Dylan Cease, and I would take the run line here on the White Sox here. I know it's really tough to do. Giants and Rockies. Shit, they went over last night. They went 17 runs here. Now, does that happen? Does that happen tonight, or today, or whatever the hell you want to call it, or how you want to ever say it later on, a few hours? Um, I don't know. I'm gonna go under here, under 11 and a half again, double down there. Um, Now the A's and the Mariners there. I mean, the Mariners have been really good, but I'm gonna take the A's plus the run and a half there. Um, the Cardinals and the Padres here. I like the Cardinals money line, and the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks here. And um, I don't know. It seems like Diamondbacks are covering right now, so I would just, if I was taking a late pick, I definitely would just take Dodgers. I guess I would have to take Dodgers that way here. But yeah, it's 2-1 now. 2-1 here. Still, Diamondbacks are leading over the Dodgers here in the fourth. So obviously, Dodgers here are minus 217 here. So I mean, and now the over/under is 9.5 here. I mean, shit. They got 3 runs here. I mean, interesting. But with that being said, here we're gonna sign off here. Hopefully, we're gonna win some money. But we'll talk about tomorrow. We'll talk about the Thursday night matchups here. Go into more of the detail. The matinee. There's gonna be some matinee baseball games, so maybe get some play-by-play. Go back and do a little bit of play-by-play about the games here. Kind of like go through that here. So we'll see about that here. But other than that, here we'll talk about football and everything else on the other side. But this is Fresh and Funky's Playz and Parlayz sports show for September the 20th, 2022. Be better, not bitter, and we out this bitch.